Awesome. Everyone's here. I guess we'll kick it off now. So thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to join us on this 30-minute event. We're just going to discuss how Blackpurl can help you save time and make money, and we'll respect your time and keep it right on track. We're also recording today's webinar, and we'll be sending everyone out the link today. So after we're done, if you find any information helpful, it's still all available. Just for some quick housekeeping in our agenda for today, we're going to do a quick introduction to the team here at Blackpurl, go through what we've heard in the market based on our experiences, and then really go into how we've designed our solution to help. We'll pop into the solution overview afterwards, a live demonstration of the platform, and then we'll go into some questions and answers. If you have any questions along the way, please do shoot us an email at solutions@blackpurl.com, and we'll answer those at the end of the demo. And closing out today's session with an offer for our North American Trailer Dealer Association members and the attendees of this webinar, so stay on for that. My name is Pius, and I'll be your moderator today. I'm a business development manager here with Blackpurl, and I'm joined by Mark Bowen and Brian Kelly. Mark is our Blackpurl product manager. He has 7 years of hands-on experience working in all departments at high-volume Harley-Davidson dealerships across Canada, and over 30 years of experience in designing, implementing, and managing dealership software for the motorcycle, automotive, and RV markets. Brian brings over 20 years of experience in building technical solutions for a wide range of industries, and he is our resident dealership management systems expert. So that's who we are. But today, this is all about you, the business owner, the manager, and the person really at the heart of your business. That's where this all really begins, with you, helping your customers and running your business. That sounds so easy from the outside, doesn't it? Help your customers, run your business. But we all know that it isn't quite that way. And anybody that spends a couple of days on the lot, in the shop, or behind the counter thinking that all you have to do is help the customer is in for a big surprise. And just like you, we know about that firsthand. I'd like to pull in Mark Bowen now, our product manager, to talk a little bit more about this. Mark, could you take a couple minutes and just tell us just about some of the few common problems that you've seen through the years in your experience?
Sure, thanks, Pius. Of course, there's a lengthy list of problems that can occur any day in a store or dealership. A couple of them are how they relate to customers. Are like the biggest one being having accurate information when you need it. Knowing what you've got in stock as opposed to what is really available for sale, so that you don't try and sell something that's already sold, which of course results in an unhappy customer. Another thing is considered, if you think about all the work that goes into doing a simple service job, you take down information for an appointment for a customer coming in. When they do come in, now you've got to fill out maybe some kind of worksheet for a technician. The technician then does all their work and then hand writes down what they did, their notes, and maybe the parts that they used. And now someone else, like a service writer, has to copy all this information back to create an actual invoice for the customer, and they pricing everything out and making sure that they nothing didn't get onto the unit without getting onto the invoice. And now they have to take the money from the customer and close it out. So that's at least 3 different documents, and without even getting into maybe having a special order of part for our customer. So there's a lot of chances for mistakes or miscommunication. And again, that can usually result in unhappy staff. Another one is when, bringing on new staff is generally very expensive and frustrating. Until they understand the processes and learn any existing system properly, you're actually losing money because they're not productive. And heaven forbid, if you lose one of your experienced team members, the only people who know how to get things done in your system today, it may take months to get someone else trained up to that same level if it's even possible. And that, of course, results in an unhappy owner. So those are just a couple of examples that I can give to you today. Thanks.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. And for some of you listening and watching this webinar, that probably hits pretty close to home. And some of those jobs might be waiting for you after this webinar. And if they are, we are so sorry. By the way, if you have any stories you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear them. First-hand testimonials really give us the insight we use to keep our solutions and our development team relevant and powerful, but more on that later. So where do all these experiences leave us? Really with the thought there has to be a better way, a way to cut out all the overhead, all the extra hours, all the roadblocks and all the headaches and really just get back to doing those simple things we talked about earlier, which is helping your customers and running your business. And that's why we made Blackpurl. But what exactly is Blackpurl? And to really answer that question, I'd like to ask Brian Kelly, our systems architect, to give us some insights into the platform. Brian?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Pius. So when building Blackpurl, we knew we had to address the problems that Mark was talking about earlier. But we had to include not just fixing those problems, but a lot of the other issues we've witnessed and experienced in the industry, for decades. But it isn't just a matter of solving dealership problems. We had to solve dealership software problems. What you have available today, it's hard to use. Training takes forever. Even doing simple tasks is a complicated process because it doesn't put the customer at the center of the experience. It takes months to get fully transitioned onto, costs you an arm and a leg with upfront fees. There's hardware expenses, big monthly license charges. But worst of all, it may never end up actually getting you back all that time you were trying to save by buying and implementing the software in the first place. So with all that in mind, rather than trying to describe point by point what we've done about these things, I'm just going to jump in and show you the system. So Pius, if you, let me see here if I can grab you.
Yeah, let me do this for you, Brian.
And we'll show you the application here. Perfect. Okay, can you see my screen there, Pius?
I can, yeah, thanks, Brian.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is Blackpurl. In Blackpurl, and anytime you're at the dealership and you're working with customers, really all you're doing is you're searching for something that you've created, or you're creating a new transaction in the system. So it's as simple as that for us. It's all about searching and creating. Now, what I'll do here is just step through a couple quick processes, just give you a sense of what we've done and really show you how this entirely cloud-based solution really does stand apart from what you know of DMS today, or that dealer management software of today. So let's do a quick sale. So this is a customer comes in, has a part in hand, walks up to the counter, you want to sell that part to that customer. So here again, you're creating. We have our search and we have our create. So you're creating, and you're just creating a quick sale. So we jump in here, and here's our quick sale screen. You can now search for a part. You can use your barcode scanner, obviously, to dump that part in immediately. I don't have a barcode scanner on me, so I'm just going to be typing in that part. Let's say that the guy wants to buy an oil filter and some oil from you. So we add the oil filter, how many he wants to buy, what the current pricing is. There's a lot of logic in the back end here around how we calculate that price and different things you can do. There's a lot under the hood, but as you can see, we really went to a lot of effort to make the experience as clean as possible, only showing you, the user, what you need to know in order to get the job done, rather than cluttering the screen and confusing the user, which then takes more training time, and then you've got all sorts of headaches. So we've added our oil filter. We then come in and we want to go ahead and add the oil as well. Again, you could just be barcode scanning away here to do that. Save that out. You can come back in, edit the sale, pick whatever it is you needed to change. Oh, I meant to order 2 of that, save that out. As you can see, it's just updating and telling you how much your balance due is. Ready when you're ready to check out. Here's your checkout, tells you how much you owe. You can pick your payment method, pay by Visa. You can even do a split. Let's say there's 2 payments. You can add 30, paid by Visa, and then pay the rest in cash. Add that payment as well. Great. As soon as you've accepted enough payment to equal the amount of the invoice, you're done. Go ahead and finalize that sale. So that's the experience. It's very similar to going onto a website and purchasing something for yourself in your private life. It needs to be that straightforward, and we knew we could deliver that. So that's a quick sale. Now we know that there's more complexity to a sales experience at a dealership than usually just buying or selling on-hand inventory. You might need to special order inventory. There's a lot of around service. There's more need than simply saying, oh, here's a part. Let me give it to you. So let's do a service order next. And a service order. And the system, though, still obeys our same principles of just trying to present only the information you need to know and then ask the questions so that whether you know it or not, by simply answering the questions, you're doing the best practice for your business, right? You're collecting all the information you'd want, and you're getting the information from the customer to the technician and then servicing the customer's need in as efficient a manner as possible. So let's come up here again. Oh, you can go back home if you'd like. And again, we're creating. So let's create, but this time instead of just a simple quick sale, we'll create a service job. First thing we ask is, hey, who's the customer, right? So I know it's Mr. Smith, right? And here we have two Smiths that pop up. In our system, anytime you want to discriminate between the two of them, you can just keep on typing in more information. A global search does that. Anytime you see a search box in our system, you just keep typing. Regardless of what field, and then it'll tell you what you need. But we'll take Alan here and go from there. So now we're loading into the customer customer order screen, and we've got a service job. Now he wants to maybe do an oil change, right? So let's call it an oil change for our service job. You can see, is the customer paying for this job, right? It's a simple question. If you answer differently, suddenly you're doing an insurance claim, you're doing warranty work, you're changing the flow of the rest of the screen. Because here it is, here's my customer order. I start at the top, I answer questions. As I answer questions or fill in data, the screen will begin to expand. So look for that. Of course, you can see with this layout that it would work perfectly well on a tablet as well, a mobile experience. So here we have our one customer, Alan, and he's already got a unit. We already knew that he had a unit. If we wanted to add a different unit because he didn't have his box trailer today. Oil change on the box trailer is kind of interesting. But here you could add a new customer-owned unit. It would dump it right in if you needed to. We're not going to worry about that. So he needs an oil change. There you go. Now you can just begin scanning in parts if you want. Here we're not going to scan. Again, I'll be typing. So it's the same concept. Again, searching anywhere in the system. Searching's just type any information you know about what you're trying to find, and the system will take it from there. So let's find that oil filter. There it is. Add it in to as a line item. So it jumps in. Now you can see here we have more complexity because there's more options available to you around if you commit the inventory, creating that special order circumstances, right? You want more control over your inventory than simply selling whatever might be available. But here we're not going to change anything. It's just really straightforward. So let's add some oil as well. Great. Then we need to add labor. And there's all sorts of rules, again, you can put in around labor, I mean, with giving shop rates and different pricing you can do. But again, we're just going to do the basics here. Let's see if we can actually click on there you go. So we've added in our oil filter, we've added in our oil. Let's add some shop labor, whatever our shop labor rate is. And now I've built my service job. I keep on not clicking on the line, I'll tell you. There you go. Now we built out our service job here. You can see our section, right? Here are our actions for service. So anytime you wanted to do something more, again, I'm not going to get into the complexity, but you can add attachments, you can log tech time, you can seek customer approval, so there's a signing process around it. There's all sorts of things. You can even change, like we've done here, to concern cause correction if you have a more formal process you do with the service center. There's all sorts of things you can do here. But all I'm going to do is, rather than set the job as complete or walk through the statuses that are available for the job, I'm actually going to go ahead and add a part that we need to special order so I can show you that. That's the last thing I really want to show you today that the system can handle here. So let's add in a washer, I think. Yeah, so let's add a washer, and I don't believe we have any stock for our washer here. And in fact, we do not. So you immediately see, we warn you about it. We say, hey, you don't have anything in inventory. This is now required. And as soon as I added that, you'll see a new section appeared here, which is our special order section, saying, hey, we have something a customer needs that we don't have. We need to order that. Now, what I could do is jump here to the special order action and order it straight from the line item. And in some shops, that's what you want to do. You want to give the person working directly with the customer here, the service writer or whoever it is, the ability to add parts to an order, to an open order. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to create the order here for you. So here we've got our part, we've added it in, and we say, oh, now we need to order that part. So your parts manager later in the day wants to make an order from the parts supply company, the guys who supply our washer here. So again, it's creating, right? If you didn't know, you could always search to find that same information. We can come over here, search, and say, hey, what's that washer, all about? And then I type that in, I say, oh yeah, there's that washer, and I can come in here and find all the details about that washer that I might want, but here we're going to create. So we create that vendor order experience. Just like with a customer order experience, it really is the same process. You're identifying who you're having the transaction with and then what the contents of that transaction are. So rather than us reinventing the wheel for each area you go into, this is simply just going to take you through the same process. Again, keeping it simple for that user, right? Keeping it clean. So it's the parts supply company. I know that. I begin typing in the name. It pops up and tells me what's available. Great. Parts supply company, now we created our vendor order. And you can see immediately we have information because we have customers who need parts, and we also have thresholds we've set for our inventory for needing other parts, right? So you can see required for customer and required for stock. What do I want to add? Or I could always just begin searching additional parts from this vendor and adding them myself manually if I just know I need that part, yet I haven't recorded why I need that part in the system yet. And you can see here, here's our customer order we created for Alan. He needs that washer. I'm not going to do any stocking need right now. I'm simply going to jump in and add Alan's need here. So here's my order. I've got it created. Great. Now I'm going to submit the order in the system, and I'm done. I've recorded that need being submitted to the order. Submitted to the vendor. Now, whenever the box arrives the next day, I create again, but now I'm creating a receiving. I'm going to record what I got from the vendor. So again, it's the same vendor, parts supply company, and we walk through the same process. It says, hey, let me show you, in fact, all of your outstanding vendor orders that have been submitted for the parts supply company. What are you receiving against? If we have multiple vendor orders here, you could already refine what you're seeing on the screen based off the vendor orders that are present. But we only have the one outstanding vendor order. There's the washer. I check in the box. I've got my one washer. Great. I add that to my receiving. I now have all my info for my receiving here. For that, I can go in and change information about the receiving if I wanted to, but we're not going to worry about that because this all links into the costing side of the system, because again, we record a lot more on the back end than what you're seeing. Add in a packing slip number and commit my receiving. Now that I've committed my receiving and I finished it, I can go back to my customer order. And with any link in the system, what we do is the system knows what goes with what action, right? So rather than searching out that customer order again, which I easily could easily come up here and say, hey, I was working with Alan Smith. What's going on with Alan Smith right now? And I can immediately begin seeing results in the global search, right? I could even, use a keyword and say, oh, I got lots of extra information. Let me really find out what just customer orders that work with Alan, right? You don't have to know what module to go into. But here, we're about to finish it off. So I've finished my receiving. I jump into my customer order. There he is. So back over. As soon as I get my little fly out here, there we go. I come back over into the customer order. Now that I've received that part, you'll notice the status of the part, right, has changed to be in stock, right? And the special order section has now received it and it told me what vendor order, right, was on. So now that I've finished all my stocks and inventory around this service job, I come in, I set the job as complete, right? It says, are you sure? Great, I'm done. Now we have a new section that it added, checkout. We go through the same process we would during a quick sale process. We select our payment method, add in whatever the amount is. Here, if I wanted to, if I had other items that were involved, I could even split invoice right in checkout by saying, uncheck that line. I'm not selling that to the customer right now because we're not building an invoice, we're building an order, right? So split invoicing in our system isn't this complex process at all. Add your payment. There it is. I'm not going to print the invoice here. Finalize the order, and you're done. Now here's your invoice history. I can show you the little flyout for it if you want. But it could print to a receipt printer. It could have printed a full page invoice, whatever you'd like. And that's the process. That's the fundamentals of the system. Just creating and searching and adopting modern techniques around a cloud delivery, right? A cloud-based system that doesn't make you worry about backups that you need and disaster recovery plans and oh, I need to go into the dealership to find out about what's going on in my system. If you've got a browser, you got internet connection, you can get Blackpurl. So that's sort of hopefully giving you a snapshot of what we've done with Blackpurl and how we tried to solve those problems, both for the dealership and just in dealership software. So with that, Pius, I'll hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Brian. I hope we were able to show at a quick high level in terms of what Blackpurl is all about. But if you'd like a deeper dive into the platform itself, more than happy to book a custom demo and walk you through it. Just reach out to us afterwards and book a time. Now what? Where do we go next? In our conversations, we've really typically come across owners who fall into three categories. First, those who don't need a system and are happy running the process how things are today. Secondly, those who realize there's a problem with how they're running things today and don't know the solution. And finally, those who realize there's a problem, knows there's a solution, but just don't know how to change or think it takes too much time or effort. We're really here to help the second two groups, which is why we created Blackpurl to be super simple to use and adopt and really taking the minimal amount of time to launch and implement, unlike some of the other majority of the tools out there. Now, this is where we normally get the question, what do you mean by minimal amount of time? And the answer to that is really, we'll have you up and running in 24 hours, and here's how. First, head off to blackpurl.com and sign up. And remember, there's no sign up, there's no contract, there's no hidden fees, there's really no risk. Our pricing is straightforward and simple. It's $60 a month for each user of your team. And within minutes of signing up, you'll get an email with credentials and the next steps. And from there, it's straight to the data. If you have customer list, inventory files, or any other data you'd like to bring with you or transport over, our team is there to help that migration for you. We'll grab your data, we'll handle the import. If you also want to start fresh with no data, then skip the data. You just log in and go. And we are here to help every step of the way. You can also go to our online community to find out detailed how-to guides, chat with other Blackpurl users, and connect directly with our customer success team. And the special offer for our North American Trailer Dealer Association dealers and any other registered attendees with us today, sign up with Blackpurl in the next 30 days and receive 2 months for free for up to 5 users. That's a $600 value, and you can cancel anytime as you're going through this. It's really a zero risk investment. Now, we know it's difficult to launch anything new. You're busy, you're constantly busy. There's barely enough time in the day to do the things you need. And for most of our customers, time is the biggest hurdle. But that's also the biggest indicator that you would find a tool like Blackpurl most helpful and most necessary. And with that offer, that really wraps us up. If anyone had any questions, please send us a quick email to solutions@blackpurl.com. We'll get those answered to you. Kind of going through some of the more common questions that we've received in the past are really around transferring data and how that works. I'm going to pass that question over to Brian to help answer in terms of how we transfer everything and what the processes are. Brian?
Yeah, sure, Pius. So as you said, we're here every step of the way. So as soon as you've contacted us and say that you're interested in trying Blackpurl, if you have your data already in a place where it's in a digital format, someplace you can export, then we'll just take it right from you. We load it into your environment. We validate all of the data, make sure everything's penny perfect, and then you're up and running. And of course, since we're loading it into the cloud, right, it's all you can see it as soon as we've done it. Everything's real time. There's no waiting for someone to show up on site. There's no, like I said, no hardware component earlier. Same thing with if you don't have the data available, we actually will connect into your existing system. As I think, Pius, you mentioned at the beginning, our company has decades of experience in our industry in dealer software. So we've seen pretty much everything there is under the sun, and we know how to grab your data. So we'll handle that for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I had another question pop in from Celine here. She just asks, how often are you guys doing upgrades and updates? I'm assuming you're talking about improvements along the way to the platform. I will direct that question to Mark, so product manager, and he can probably help answer that question. Mark?
Yes, sure, Pius. We are constantly updating and upgrading the system to add improved features and functionality, and mostly based on the feedback we're getting from the users of the system. And so the system's continuing to grow. We basically put out new versions of it. Maybe every 3 weeks there's something new coming out. Could be small, could be larger, and there's no issues with that. We simply update the software, and everybody's immediately updated. So you'll grow with us. We'll grow the software with you, and you'll grow with us.
Thanks, Mark. And I know in the past we've had customers who've trialed our software and used the software and suggested pieces that they've needed, and our dev team is always happy to take those changes into account. So, to Mark's point, we're really building this platform and program just for the users, just for you guys. So if there's anything, then we will definitely add it to the system. And with that question, we're actually right at the 30-minute mark. And as I mentioned earlier, we will respect your time and end our session here. But please reach out to us with any other questions that might have come up later, or just to set up a private customized demo for your business. We'll be following up with a questionnaire just to ask your opinion on a few pieces and for feedback as well, and to send out the 2-month offer as well. Thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you found today's session helpful, and speak with you all soon. Thanks, everybody.